All right. Welcome, everybody, to Fifth Dimensional Academy of Higher Consciousness. Today is May 22nd, and I'm broadcasting live from Los Angeles. So, obviously, we had some very good questions came in today, and we're just going to go through them. I'm excited about your questions. And so why don't we do this? We're going to start with a meditation. And this meditation, it's the violet light meditation. And what we're going to be doing is you're going to be imagining that you're breathing this violet light, and it's coming in a form of a spiral. As you're breathing it, it's coming from your root chakra, and it's coming in a form of a spiral going through all your chakras, going to your third eye, and it's coming out of your crown chakra. So you're just seeing this violet light coming out. Okay, so as you're breathing in, it's coming up to here, to your heart, and as you're breathing out, it's going through your crown chakra. Okay, so it's very, very simple. You just simply relax, close your eyes, and you're gently breathing into the light. Okay, so we'll do that. So as you're breathing in, the first, you breathe in and the light comes to your heart, and you breathe out and the light goes through your crown chakra. So you just breathe in and the light comes to your heart, and you breathe out and the light keeps spiraling out of your crown chakra. And as you're breathing in and breathing out, there's this sense that all is well. Because the mind quiets down and you begin to feel the presence around you. So you gently breathe in and out. And as you have your eyes closed and you're doing your meditation, just allow the thoughts to come and go. You're simply present, you're here, and no need to get entangled with the thoughts. Simply allow them to come and go. Don't force anything. Just allow. And as you're just simply sitting there and meditating, put your hands on your chest area, your heart area, and repeat after me. All is well. All is well. Existence takes care of everything. Existence takes care of me. My life is in the hands of God, and God loves me. All is well. All is well. I am taken care of. Take a deep breath, relax. And now you see that the violet light that you're breathing in, it actually goes through, from your root chakra, it goes through your third eye. It goes through the middle of your eyebrows, and then it goes inside through a pipe, and it goes up through the crown chakra. So you just visualize that you're breathing it in. As you're breathing it in, comes all the way, goes through from your third eye, goes all the way in inside your head, and then you breathe it out and it goes up. And now just visualize that you're breathing it from your third eye only. So this violet light is coming in from your third eye. It goes in the middle of your brain and it goes up. So you're just breathing it from your third eye. You bring it from in between your two eyebrows. Take a deep breath. So you're just breathing in and out the violet light. There's a sense of calmness. All is well. Everything is in good hands. We're all taken care of. In the midst of the chaos of the universe, of life, you're 100% taken care of. Slowly, slowly come back. Slowly, slowly come back. Okay. So let's go to our first question that we have from Hilde Ebenstadt. She asked a question. Do you want to repeat your question so everybody can hear it, Hilde?
Yeah, sure. I wondered if you can talk a little bit about choicelessness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. That's a good question. Well, this one is a very deep subject, and not many spiritual teachers or different schools agree with this. But you have to keep in mind that everything I share with you is that I'm not trying to impose my way of thinking to anybody or convince anyone to look at things the way I do or to believe in what I believe. I only speak from direct experience, whatever is my own experience. And this is something I learned from my teacher. My teacher brought this to me. And of course, through the grace of my teacher, I came to this understanding directly. And choicelessness. And when we talk about choice or not having a choice, we're going back to your will, your free will, basically. And there's the illusion, there's the appearance. We're living simultaneously. There's two different realities we have. One is relative reality, and one is the absolute reality. In relative reality, there is the good, the bad, the light and the dark. There is the day, the night, man and woman. And so the opposites do exist in relative reality. There's an appearance of the light and dark. It looks that way. And it's very, very real. So you can't deny it that it doesn't exist, especially if something happens to you. But in absolute reality, none of them do exist. So the same thing as your choice, choicelessness, having choice or not having choices. It's the same thing. It only exists in relative reality. The relative reality, there is a you, there is a me, there is an appearance of separation. We're separated from one another. You decide on doing things, or you decide not to do it. But how much is this decision, this choice, is really yours? And how much of it is being influenced by existence? So I'm going to break this down for you. So we talk about that it's all one. We say everything is a part of the oneness. Is that right? Is that correct? Everything is a part of the oneness. So means that it's all connected to each other. Everything is connected to everything. That includes the good, the bad, and the ugly. Everything is connected to everything. Everything is a part of everything. So there is this connection. So when you make a decision, this decision you're making is based on a collective understanding, a collective agreement of the entire existence, agreeing on your decision to come through, to happen. The entire existence has to agree on a decision you make for this decision to happen. Otherwise, it cannot happen. It's a collective agreement of the entire existence. Now, when you think about it, that's huge. The entire existence has to say yes for us to do a simple thing. It's a collective agreement. Otherwise, that thing cannot happen. Now, we are brought up in this environment to believe that, okay, I am mighty, I am powerful, I decide what I want to do, and I decide on the things because I have the power. So I decide that I'm going to go get into my car and I'm going to go to the supermarket and do some shopping, buy some food, and come back. It's the decision I make. It's mine, my decision. I'm powerful. But now you have to look at all these different things, all these elements that they're going to agree on you doing that. For example, in the moment that you decide to just put your clothes on and go to the supermarket, your body has to agree. All the parts of your body, all the chemical activities that happens in the body, everything has to agree. All the organs that are working, they have to say, I'm going to be working just fine. Because right before you get up to go put your clothes on, and you put your clothes on, you get dressed up, and you're about to leave the house, what if you get a severe migraine headache? Or what if you get a diarrhea? all of a sudden you got this really bad diarrhea. Are you going to get in your car and go do shopping? Or are you just going to stay home and sit next to a toilet? Obviously, you're just going to stay home and you're not going to go anywhere because it's very uncomfortable to get in a car and go do shopping. And if you get a severe migraine headache, the last thing you want to do is to go somewhere which is loud or to have to deal with people. And how much are you in control of your body not to get a migraine headache or not to get a diarrhea? I mean, can you control that? Or any other health issue that you may develop. So your body has to really agree on 100% to say, I just gave you the go ahead, I'm going to be feeling good, and you're going to go do a very simple thing. You're going to go to the supermarket and do shopping. But if you get up in the morning and you decide to do that and you're not feeling well, you have a flu, your body is not feeling well, well, you're going to say, well, I don't need to go shopping today. I'll wait till tomorrow. I'll do it later. It's as simple as that. How many times in your life you were going to go do something and your body didn't feel good and you postpone it? You can look at that. Were you choosing for your body to feel bad? Were you choosing to be sick? Was it your choice? Did you decide on that? Or it just happened? So that's the first thing. Second component is that what if you're about to go out of your house to get in a car and to go do shopping? Let's say your body's feeling well. What if you get a phone call that your mother is in a critical condition, is in a hospital? And so what do? You jump in your car and you immediately go to the emergency room to attend to your mother. Or let's say you get a phone call that one of your children had an accident in school and is being rushed to the hospital. Are you going to say, no, I'm going to go do food shopping and then I go to see my child? Or you just drop everything that you're doing, you jump in a car and you go straight to the hospital to attend to your child? So events like that cannot happen. They have to agree in that moment. You're going to go to the supermarket to do some food shopping. Existence and other people who are not in your control and you don't have any control over them, outside elements, nothing bad, nothing distracting should happen for you to do a very simple thing that we don't even think about it. Just go and do some food shopping. It's a very ordinary thing. You may be doing it every day or every other day or once every 3 days or whatever, but you never think about it. Now, another element is, what if you go do food shopping and your card doesn't work? Or you can't get money out of your bank. Something happened to your accounts and the bank froze your account. Something, sometimes it happens to all of us, that some misunderstanding happens or whatever, and you can't get money out of your account or your card doesn't work. And that's also out of your control. You don't have any control over it. So for those of you who drive cars, what if you go sit in your car and you want to start the engine and the car doesn't start? What are you going to do then? And a simple car is probably made out of 10,000 pieces. And every time you go sit in a car and you start the engine, 10,000 different parts of the car, they all have to keep their structural integrity together. Every part of the car has to be in agreement that I'm going to be working today. The starter works. The battery works. The cables that are connected to each other works. The alternator works. The engine works. The gas pump works. The brakes work. The lights work. Everything has to say, yes, I'm going to be working today. So then you're able to drive your car from one spot to another. Now, what if you're driving your car and you're passing other cars? Other cars are passing by you. What if one of the other cars malfunction? What if one of the other drivers driving in front of you or passing you, what if somebody malfunction? Human being. Something happens to them. They don't pay attention. They're on the phone. They do something and they're distracted and they run into you and they hit your car. How much choice do you have there? How much are you in charge? The list goes on and on and on. What about the weather? Does the weather have to agree? What about the day you get in your car to go do some shopping, all of a sudden the worst blizzard, the worst storm comes and happen? So when you look at it, there is so many different elements that they all have to agree on a very simple thing, simple task for us to accomplish, which everything has to agree on it for something to be able to be accomplished, and which all of it is out of your control. And that's what I'm talking about, choicelessness. Does it answer your question, Hilda? I just unmuted you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Does it make sense? Do you see?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah. Right. So now unless somebody has a question, do you have anything to ask me regarding to this? Otherwise, I want to answer Sandra's question. Go ahead, Sophia.
Yeah, regarding to this,
can you speak a bit louder so everyone can hear?
What is the reason that something agree and something disagree?
It's just the way it is. This is the way it is. There is no reason.
Is there any secret that we have to find it out?
Say that again.
Is there any secret behind it that we have to find it out why this is not agreed or why this is...
Right. Yeah. The secret to it is to surrender to what is. Surrendering to what is happening. You know? And just going with the flow of life. Basically, just surrendering to what is, and you just adjust to what is going on, and you roll with it. What else can you do?
So somebody is playing with us. We have no choice. We have nothing to do here. We have no control. We have, you know, this is something that, you know, it disappointed me that what is all these games for?
Right. Good question.
There is no good answer. Yeah, you know, I'm like...
Yeah. Well, we're here. You're here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. You're here, correct?
Yes.
Right. So?
I wish I wouldn't be, because I have no choice, no control. I'm just a doll. Somebody is playing with me, and for no reason, you know, everything is fake. It's all illusion, hallucination. I have no choice. No, I'm asking what is all these games for?
Right.
And, you know, it relates also to my last previous question from last meeting, that if there is no good and bad, and if all of universe is a whole thing, and so you don't believe in karma also, because you believe in karma or not? If we don't have choice, if we don't have any control, if I'm killer, if I'm killer or healer, there is no difference between being healer or killer. So
not in the absolute reality, there is no difference.
Yeah,
they're different expressions of the absolute. They're different expressions. That's how life expresses itself.
Yeah, this fake, what is it? Reality is fake. I'm not talking about it. Fake reality is I am, for example, a healer or a killer. Okay.
Right.
But the absolute reality is there is no good, bad, killer, healer. Okay.
That's right.
So I don't want to be involved with fake reality in it anymore.
Right.
So I'm aware of.
So what do you want to do?
If I'm aware of nothing, just like Indian people sitting and saying what to do. They say what to do, and they're absolutely surrender. And this is not what everybody wants it.
Okay, so all right. So I hear what you say. I heard you. Okay. So what are you saying? So what do you want to do? Just get to the point.
I don't know. I'm just asking you.
Okay. Well, what is your question? Because you're not asking me a question.
How we look at this.
You just be quiet and you don't think. You just be quiet and you don't think. And then we'll see if there's a question. And then we'll see if there's anything needs to be fixed or change. If there is no question, okay, can you do that one thing? There's no question. You're just silent. Then if there is no thoughts, tell me if there's a problem.
Yes, because...
No, try it first and then tell me. You haven't tried it yet. You try that and then you tell me. Now, I'm gonna just go to Sandra's question. Okay, let's get to Sandra's question. I'm gonna read it loud to everybody so you hear it. Okay, so we'll start. Okay, question. Zarathustra, you try to teach us to go beyond the world of duality which causes us pain. And to some extent, that makes sense. But can you please explain why we have feelings and a conscience? Why can we so strongly feel that some things or actions are good or bad? Is this only a product of our mind and ego to keep us captivated or help to guide us? I mean, for example, to hurt another being would naturally feel wrong, and to help and support others would feel right, since it gives us a sense of love and belonging. As I understand it, on some level, to reach a higher consciousness is to strive towards a place where there will only be oneness and love. So how do I deal with this challenge not to judge and label things as good or bad? And is it necessary for teaching for reaching a higher consciousness. Okay. Let me see. Where are you, Sandra? All right. I'm going to unmute you. Okay, Sandra.
Okay. That's a good one.
Which part of it do you want me to answer first?
If you start why it appears that we have feelings and a conscious.
Right. Yeah, we do. We're sentient beings. We're conscious beings. So our job is to feel and to be aware. That's the job of consciousness, awareness. Happening. So we're sensing, we're thinking, we're feeling, all of it is happening.
Is this to help us to develop spirits in a spiritual way?
Well, yeah, I mean, whether we have senses in order to help us to become more spiritual, is that what you're saying? Or I'm not exactly sure if I understand.
Well, I think I might. I think Sophia was trying to get the answer. I mean, what's the point? If we are here, there must be some reason. Is it to develop spirituality or what? I mean, we have a conscious, and I can feel that some things will be at a low energy where there's fear, and some things will be in a high energy, love, right?
Okay. Right. So, okay, let me read your question and we answer your question one at a time. How's that?
That's okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, good.
All right. So, we'll go. Okay, you try to teach us to go beyond the world of duality, which causes us pain. And to some extent, that makes sense. But can you please explain why we have feelings and conscious? Why can we so strongly feel that some things or actions are good or bad? Is this only a product of our mind and ego to keep us captivated or help to guide us? I mean, okay, so obviously, I mean, we are here, obviously, and we can't be anywhere else. We're all here for whatever reason. You can't deny not being here. And for whatever reason, we're all being pulled towards the world of spirit. We're pulled on this spiritual path. In comparison to your brother, sister, your family, your friends, those who don't care about this, correct? And somehow, for us, this is very important. To a point that we get together every Tuesday, no matter what we have going on in our lives, and we find this more interesting than anything else to do. So somehow we're all here. So we're beings, we have feelings, we can sense, we can feel everything is happening to you and you're experiencing all these different things. So you are, in a way, you're a tentacle. You know, it's like, you know, you have this big ant, and these ants, they got these tentacles, they got these radars, and their radars are sensing in a way, you know? It's like each and every human being is a sensor for God. It's a sensor of the Grand Spirit. In a way, I'm using an example. So God is experiencing and sensing life through you. Is experiencing it. Is experiencing the duality, the world of duality, the dual world. The world of the opposites is being experienced through this mechanism. Sandra is a sensor. Okay? Now, why you're being used for that is because the absolute, God, in its absolute form, that is not in duality, it's in oneness. It's pure oneness. Pure oneness. It cannot experience itself because there is nothing to experience. It's just one. Is this making, can you imagine that? Can you imagine a vast ocean which is completely flat and there's no waves on it? So until a wave is being created on it, and then there's more waves, now the ocean becomes aware of itself, that it exists. So in the absolute reality, or where God is, it's pure being. And it's one being. And that one being, because there is no opposite to it, it's not aware of itself. It's just pure presence. Now, only in creating duality, it can become aware of itself. It can see itself. It can experience itself if it creates duality. Otherwise, it's just pure and nothing. It's not aware of itself. It simply is. And I understand for the mind it's very difficult to understand this. Because the mind cannot understand the absolute. The mind cannot understand infinite. That's why you have to go in pure silence. That's why you have to go beyond the mind into no mind to understand this. You can't understand it with your thinking mind. So we have this, we have the absolute, which it's everything and everywhere, but there is no movements in it. Nothing's moving, it's just flat. And in that flatness, it's not aware of itself. It is, but it's just a being. But it's not aware of itself. Now then, it begins to have a movement. And it creates a movement, whether it's through sounds, through om, om, or through any kind of shaking itself. So as it shakes itself, some ripple starts to happen on it. And now there's some waves. And now it can see itself for the first time. It becomes aware of itself. So its awareness, its experience of itself is to create duality, to create two, three. And you can only do that in this movement that it creates. And then as it moves, it disturbs this flat water and it creates waves. And the more it shakes itself, the more waves are going to be. Now these waves can look at each other. Because before it was flat, they couldn't see each other. Now there's two waves and they can look at each other because they rise and fall. So each person, each object is one of these waves. But the waves are coming from the ocean. They're not separated from the ocean. And they come from the ocean and they go back to the ocean. So it's the rise of you. You're being born. You're being born from that. So you start to appear. You know, you have a duration. And then you die. But nothing is born and nothing is dies. It's just an expression of the oneness expressing itself, and then it goes back into itself. So you weren't really born, and you're really not going to die. It's just an expression that happens. It gets to see itself. Now it gets to see itself in billions of different shapes because it's the absolute. It's infinite. And since it's infinite and it's watching itself, it looks at itself from different angles. One angle, it's look at itself as beauty. As angle, it looks at itself as darkness, because it can experience all of it. So why not? Why not experience all of it? Because it's the infinite. Infinite experiences itself in every different angle and possibility. At one point, it's born as you. At one point, it's born as Mother Teresa. It's born as Albert Einstein. It's being born as a child who's an orphan. It's being born as a tyrant. Another place is being born as a child who is born with disability. So it's paralyzed. A child is being born as paralyzed. But it's the same absolute. It's experiencing an expression of being a child being paralyzed. And now it's experiencing the mother who's suffering. Because it wants to experience suffering. It wants to experience pain. It wants to experience pleasure. Because it's in absolute, it's in its own absolute state, there is nothing. Its own absolute state, there's nothing going on. That's why when you sit in your meditation and you go beyond your mind and you're not thinking, there's nothing going on. It's quiet. That's why when you sleep at night and you're not dreaming, there is nothing. When you sleep at night and you don't dream, there is nothing. Nothing is going on. Because you go back, because you are that absolute. So you go back to your original state. You go back to nothingness. Nothing is happening. And everything is still. Then you come back into the world of duality. Then the dual world exists. There is pain, there is pleasure, there is senses, and you have to deal with the world. But then when you rest and you retreat, you go back into nothingness and the world doesn't exist anymore. So it's a constant of appearance and disappearance. The world appears to be, the world disappears. The world appears to be, the world disappears. And that God existence is experiencing this through each and every one of us. Simultaneously is experiencing life and expressions through each and every one of us. Because it's the absolute, it's the infinite. So it exists in all of us. And it's experiencing the world of dimensions through each and every one of us. So when you're struggling and you think you're struggling, it's that which is doing it. When you're desiring, it's that which is desiring through you. When you're failing, it's that that fails through you because it wants to experience failure through you. It continuously wants to experience things through you. That's the only way it can experience things. It needs you to experience things. It experiences things through a fish. It's experiencing things through a cat. It's experiencing things through a fly. It's experiencing things through vegetation. It's in everything. It's experiencing things through everything simultaneously. But the mind can't understand this. You can't understand how this living spirit intelligence can simultaneously experience everything through all these objects. And because we see the good and bad, but that doesn't see good and bad. God doesn't see things in good and bad because it is the good and bad. God is both of them, the good and the bad. If there is bad is happening because it wants that. It wants to experience bad. That's why it's happening. Because nothing can happen outside of the power of God. Nothing does exist. So if it wants to experience war, then it creates it to experience it. And it will appear through hundreds of thousands of men going to war, and it appears through hundreds and thousands of men dying, and women and whatever. It experiences all of it simultaneously. And then it will come and repair it. Now it's experiencing that. But the whole time it's happening to itself. It's not happening to someone else because it's playing with itself. It's playing in its own imagination. But at the end of the day, nothing has happened. It's like when you're playing, when you were kids and you played cowboys and Indians and you played bad guys and good guys and you had your soldiers and your toys and everything and you played this imaginary games and there was war and there was famine and there was all kinds of stuff. And then at the end, your mom comes and calls you and says, Sandra, come inside, honey. It's getting dark and it's getting cold. Come inside and dinner is ready. So you leave your war, you leave your soldiers, everything out there, and your dolls and toys and everything, and you come outside and you have your dinner. And nothing happened. All of it happened in your imagination. And this is exactly the same thing. Nothing has ever happened. It only appears to be that way. It looks like it. That's it. That's why all is very well. Everything is very well taken care of. There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing you need to worry about. Nothing. It's all taken care of. You're in very good hands. The boss is taking care of everything. You never need to worry about what's going to happen to the world, or da-da-da-da-da-da, or it's going to end, or the evil corporations, or the aliens coming after you, because there is nothing outside of yourself. It's all part of yourself. It's all that. It's all God. When you see it, you're going to see God everywhere in everything. And then you lose your fear, because you will never be afraid of anything, because you see God in everything. It's everywhere, all the time, in the bad guy, in the good guy. In the evil, it's in the angel. Everywhere, it's that one. So once you start to see it, it cannot fool you anymore. Because it does it in disguise, of course. You know, it's the master. God is the master. It's playing this imaginary game, so it's created duality for itself, for its own entertainment. And you are that. So you're not separated from it. And it's operating through you and I. So we have nothing to worry about, because God is doing whatever it wants to do through you and through me. So I have sense of responsibility. It's God's will. If I'm reckless, I could be a reckless person. And yeah, in the apparent world, in this world that there's laws and rules, and my recklessness will cause me into going to jail or being restrained in the relative reality. But if you have responsibility, sense of responsibility in you, then you cannot be anything else, because that's how you're designed to be. That's how it's going to express itself. God will express itself through you as a responsible person, as a spiritual seeker, as one who wants to awaken. And then you come closer, and you come closer, you find attracted to this teaching. Simultaneously, billions of other expressions of God, other people, other expressions of God are not interested in this teaching. That's his or her own will. It doesn't want these other people to come on this path. It wants to keep them that way because it wants to experience that level of unconsciousness and that level of separation. It wants to do it purposely. But nothing is really happening. Nothing has ever happened. Doesn't matter how many wars and how many things happen. At the end of the day, everything goes back into a flat ocean. Nothing has ever happened. It doesn't matter how many eruptions there was, how many waves there was, how many tornadoes there was, how many big, huge waves appeared. At the end of the day, everything goes back to the ocean, and the ocean is flat. And as if nothing happened. It always goes back to nothingness. That's why when you sleep and you don't dream, if you want to check this out. When you sleep and you don't dream, there is no you. There's no problem. There's nothing. When you sleep and you don't dream, you don't think about the world. You don't think about the future. You don't think about suffering. You don't think about feelings. Because there is no you thinking of anything. You disappear. Means you go back to your original state. Means you become God. You become the absolute. And then you come back because you get bored from that place. So you come back into the world of duality because you want to experience the dual world. You want to experience what's to be sentient being. What's it like to feel, to touch, to sense, to feel pain, to strive, to have regrets, to have anger, to have all these things. Because God itself wants to sense and experience things through this unit. And then when the time for this unit comes to end, this unit will die and another unit is born, but it's the same one. He's going to experience the same thing through another unit. And that's the game. It's called the Leela. And it's been like this ever since the ever since, and it's always going to be like this. So because of that, we don't need to worry about anything. That's the beauty of it. The more you realize it, the more you dive into it, and your life becomes easier. Suffering starts to disappear.
Zarathustra, you have some responses on the chat, particularly Reza.
Okay.
Did you have a chance to look at those?
No, I haven't, but I'll look at it now. Okay, I'm going to answer them one at a time. So I have one from Karen. Can you connect this to we are pulled towards the light and love wins in the end? Also, I wonder about this. We're not born and about reincarnation. Yeah. So the same force, the same source, Karen, that takes us into the darkness, the same source is taking us, the same force is bringing us to the light. It's the same one. Because who can explain that we are attracted to spirituality? I didn't make that choice that I remember of. Because back in the day, I was chasing the American dream. I wanted to become wealthy and I wanted to become I retire at the early age so I can just go and enjoy the senses and the pleasures of my senses, life. But then I got strongly pulled in this path. Something has brought me on this path. Something has brought me, as that thing has brought all of us to God, to our hearts. And the more you're in your heart, the more in this place, the more you start to feel this bliss and this love. And the more you feel it, the more it just fills up your life. And the less you're afraid, because you come back to this place and you just feel this presence, this love. And our question starts to disappear. And you feel the being coming back home to the love. And you realize your thoughts, your questions starts to disappear. And you're just in this place. And it's like, I don't want to go anywhere else. This is the only thing I want. It's just this bliss that you experience. And you become a channel of this bliss. And then it doesn't matter. The rest becomes bullshit. The rest becomes blah, 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 blah. You don't give a shit about it anymore. It's as simple as that. When you start to feel the bliss, the heart, the love that is here in your heart, and it's overflowing you, you literally don't give a shit about anything else. Everything disappears. None of these questions do exist any longer. And I'm not saying your questions are bad or anything. They're valid. They're very valid because your questions is everybody else's question. They're everyone's questions. But in the face of the love, they're non-existing. They don't exist. They disappear. Just like that. Like in a second, they're not even there. So let's say, Reza, I totally agree with you that in the absolute reality, there is no free will, and we are surrendered to how the existence drive us. However, I knew there's a however there. However, with all my respects for your opinion, I have a bit different opinion. I feel that we can and cannot have free will based where we look at if there is no free will, then why do we keep someone responsible for making a crime? In that situation, there should not be. Okay, so as I mentioned before, in the relative reality.
Zarathustra, please read to the end of the question.
Okay, however, all right, so let me just go back and see how much time we have for this question because it's 11:26 already. So can we, this is a long question. This is going to take me a long time to answer it. Can we save this question, Reza, for next week?
Of course, of course.
Yeah? Shishi, can you copy paste this and keep it for next week? Because
Yes, I'll make sure we address it next week.
because we're almost at the end of our time.
Yes, no problem.
So yeah, it's not that I don't want to answer it.
Okay, of course.
It's going to take me a while to answer it.
Of course.
So, okay. Regarding the academy next week, Ms. Shishi, I like to do the next academy on Thursday because, as you know, I'm going to LIB. And where are you, Shishi? I can't hear you.
Oh my God.
Okay. So can we announce? All right. I'm
Next
trying to.
Thursday is fine. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. What's the date?
That would be the, let me see, 22nd plus 7, 29, 31st, May 31st.
Yeah. That would work better for me because I'm gonna go to LIB and then when I come back, I need a couple of days. So.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Well, I know a lot of food for thought. I understand. This is a deep subject. I get it. And it's a lot to chew and swallow. But if you come to that understanding, then you lose your fear. The fear of what's going to happen. What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to the world? That fear is going to go away because you start to see through it. And you see beyond that. And you see the living spirit, the big kahuna, God, behind everything. You see the boss behind everything. Then everything becomes understandable and chewable. You can accept it easily because you can see that behind it. Because we don't see that behind things, so we're seeing appearances, we're seeing beings, we're seeing evil corporations, evil people, bad things, because we're only seeing the object, but we don't see beyond the object. Once you start to develop your sight and start to see God behind everything, God is pulling the strings. Everything else is a puppet. The puppeteer is pulling the strings. When you start to see the puppeteer, then your fear starts to disappear. That doesn't mean you're not going to be responsible. It's the puppeteer chooses for you to be responsible or irresponsible. Understanding the absolute, coming to the realization, doesn't mean you're going to be irresponsible. Responsibility or irresponsibility is a part of your makeup. That's your DNA makeup. That's something we were born with, and also something we've been conditioned into. It's a part of our education through our parents and education, cultural education. But you may have twins. You may have twins or twin brothers. One is extremely responsible. They both grew up under the same condition. One is completely responsible, is studying, is going to school, is getting a degree, is paying its bills, and the other one is always looking for a scam. The other one is slacking, doesn't want to go to school, looking for a shortcut. You have seen that yourself. You know, two brothers or brother sister both growing up in the same house with the same parents. One is being straight, the other one is a scammer. How does that happen? Where do they choose that? It's a part of their makeup. So understanding the absolute, realizing the absolute is not going to make you irresponsible. So you don't need to be afraid of that, oh my God, if I come to absolute understanding, then I'm going to become an irresponsible person. That's not how it is. You will continue doing the stuff that you need to do because that's a part of your makeup. I'm not saying things cannot change. Things can change. But that has nothing to do with awakening. Because you can see sometimes someone halfway through their lives, they change. You know, you have seen that. There's everything out there. All of it. All kinds of possibilities are out there. Anything can happen at any moment to anybody and they can go any direction. Understanding the absolute doesn't mean you are going to leave your path. So I wouldn't worry about that. But what it does is it will alleviate suffering. That's what happens. You don't suffer. And if there is suffering, suffering happens to the mind. It's not happening to you. And as you see everything a part of yourself, of course, you will be compassionate. Of course, you sense and you have love. Understanding the absolute is not going to make you heartless and insensitive. You sense things and you care. And you have love. But in the same time, simultaneously, you're not under the illusion. And it's very difficult to explain it. You know, it's kind of like a paradox. I can't really, however I want to explain it, the mind will come and say, well, how is that? But it's just the way it is. All right, my dear friends. Good to see you. So keep in mind, and if you want to put it out and let everybody else know, that the next academy is going to be next Thursday. So just an upgrade. Update. I have an event on 23rd of June here in Los Angeles. It's a mass meditation. It's happening downtown Los Angeles. And I have a 2-hour event from 12 to 2, and I'm giving a mini workshop. And it's a free event to everyone, so you're welcome to join me. And then following that, I'm heading to Sweden, and I'm going to offer the 5 level of the 5th dimensional quantum healing. All 5 levels is going to be offered. The 5th level, which is the last one. And by completing all these 5 levels, you're going to receive your practitioner certificate. That means you will be certified by me that you can practice 5th dimensional quantum healing worldwide. So, but the 5th level about the mastery is the most important level, which we have to be ready for that. So, and we're going to have some, once I create the space, we're going to be doing the initiations. So, and in the 5th level, I can initiate you. And I will be teaching the principles of love and fire for the first time in level 5, that I've never spoken about it. But I will be initiating you to the 5th level, and we'll talk about, and I'll tell you about the principles of love and fire and its importance. So all of it we're going to do in order, and we'll have very amazing time together, because I'm planning on doing a lot of shamanic work outdoors, shamanic rituals, dances, and initiations and light code activations. Everything's going to happen then. So we're just working on it. I think we have 6 or 7 seats available. So we're almost at the full capacity. So if you want to join in, I would say should make a move now and contact us or Pia or Annalie and let us know that you want to come in. So because we only have about 5 weeks left to it. So send you lots of love, and look forward to seeing you next week. Okay? Namaste. Good seeing you all. Have a good one. Much love.